Good evening, everyone. Welcome to FTB Sports Channel. Tonight we're doing a Chelsea versus Man City preview for tomorrow afternoon, 4:30 kickoff. We've got Carl and Ian with us. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Keep the numbers coming up. Right, Ian, I'll let you go first on this one.
Sorry, I'm just getting my camera repositioned. I'm dreadfully sorry. It seems to have fallen out somehow. Right, I'm good to go. Sorry. Right, what can I say about this game? I think the great unknown is COVID. We know Man City have got 5 players out from COVID, but we don't know who they are. We know one's definitely Gabriel Jesus, which is bloody bad news because we really haven't got a fit forward. We know one is Kyle Walker, which is okay because there's options at left and right back with João Cancelo, etc. So I'm sort of okay about that. However, I see on Twitter, and it's been acknowledged by the player, that Ederson is out. That's a big miss for City because so many of the moves start at the back. And then who knows who the other 2 players are? If it's bloody Kevin De Bruyne and Raheem Sterling or a player of that sort of ability, then, hey, we're in trouble. I still think City may have a bit too much for Chelsea, a little bit too, and I still hope they'll just about get a result. Wouldn't surprise me if it was a draw, but I can't commit. It's hard. You want me to put a score and all that sort of stuff on it, but how can you do that if you don't know which of the 2 other players are missing?
What about Phil Foden?
Well, yeah, I'd love to see him get more of a run in the team. I do get it. I get why Pep doesn't play him all the time. When he does the full 90 minutes, he tends to disappear a bit. I do, when I study and watch the game, he is undoubtedly gifted, but he can do a little bit like Son at Spurs, where he's really, really good and you watch him, and then there'll be 2 or 3 games where he just kind of drifts out, disappears. You don't know he's there. So, but he's an absolutely gifted player. On the positive side, with not that much game time, he'll be blinding in the European Championships for England. He will. You'll have to watch a few players like that won't have played all season. It's funny, when you get to the Euros or the World Cup, players who've just returned from injury, who are really fresh and really fit, often do really well. Whereas players like maybe a Harry Kane's that will have played all season might not be as good as you hope they're going to be.
How do you think Guardiola's going to come into this game?
Guardiola, it's interesting. I think he only seems to have one strategy, and that's tiki-taka football, dominate the game, dominate the play, and win the game that way. In all the games I've seen, I've never really seen him with a plan B. But I think plan A is a good plan A to take on Chelsea. As we see, it's not such a good plan A to play Leicester, who are the archetypal hit and run team, or Spurs. That plan A doesn't work particularly well against them, or West Brom. Hey, what a coincidence. But it usually works quite well against teams who want to play football, which I think Chelsea do.
I'm not sure on how Frank's going to line this team up. I mean, he's got a lot of underperforming superstars. He's got a lot of young talent who look like they can drag the game forwards. I definitely reckon he's going to be looking and waiting to see whether De Bruyne is in that lineup. I mean, he's seeing that Ederson's not playing. He's going to take advantage of that. Is he going to play Werner in his favoured position, or will he put him back on the wing? Is he going to play Giroud? Will he play Tammy Abraham? It all depends. Is he going to get Hudson-Odoi going to get a little game out? I reckon players like that can really hurt a City team who are losing 5 players.
If you got a reserve goalkeeper, you'd play Giroud, wouldn't you, every day of the week?
Oh yeah.
Dylan Settler reserve goalkeeper.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're spoilt for choice up top, really, aren't they? Chelsea, whereas yourselves, you've got 2 strikers and neither of them are in action.
Thiago Silva at the back again at set pieces, heading goals, etc., etc. He's really, really good, really good. So again, against a rookie keeper, you'd play those 2, and you'd go for the corners, the dead ball situations as well against that keeper. So yeah, Chelsea have weapons to hurt City. Definitely.
It's going to be an interesting game. It's going to go one way or the other. Really is. I'm not filled with confidence on Chelsea's previous games, and especially against us. I was a shocker, absolute shocker. Great win for us. but we dominated that game,
Mm.
and we've not got the caliber you've got in your squad, even if you are missing a couple of players. So you on paper, you'd say City games to lose, but it all depends how Frank lines his team up, and if he can get his team raring to go to try and get a point or 3 points against City. So it'd be interesting to watch.
I still think it depends on those mystery 2 players. It really, really does. Losing a couple of players to a club like City, yeah, 3 maybe, 5. That's a bit different. 5's that's heavy duty, depending on who.
Should they go forward?
So,
should the game continue? Do you reckon they should stop it?
I'm 2 minds on this. I think that the nation, us as well, the mental health of the whole nation is in poor shape at the moment. It's got to be. And for an awful lot of people, football is all they have at the moment. You're at home. So actually, yes, I'm probably 55% saying yes, it should go ahead because it's one of the few things the country's got going for itself to get the people through. But the 45% of me that says no is the fact that when it comes to the end of the season, so much will be depending on COVID. When I look at Newcastle and how they've lost their 2 best players in Lascelles and Maximilian, St. Maxim down, from not just weeks, months, and whether they can recover from that. Great. So if City have got 5 players with COVID, it's not just about now and the game. We're not talking about a hamstring injury here. How long does it take a top professional footballer to get back to playing really well? Those 2 players at Newcastle, we haven't seen them. Ayew got COVID at Palace and he hasn't started then another 90 minutes. So that could have massive effects. So when you look back at the end of the season, you go, you look at who's won the league, who's in the top 4, who survived the Champions League, all who's got relegated, who's won the FA Cup. COVID will play a bigger part than anything else. I think so. I think generally, and the answer is, I do think it's got to continue for the good of the nation, but it does make it a hell of a lottery from here on in.
But if the FA come up to City and say, look, you've got 5 players unavailable for tonight's game, it's your choice whether you play or not. If you then choose to play, we don't know what happens in the background. That then cannot be an excuse if you lose the game. This is the trouble we're going to have when it comes to the end of the season. Oh, we should have won because we lost X amount of points due to coronavirus, and we should have done this, we should have done that. Yeah, it's going to be a major factor, and it's going to be an absolute gamble towards the end of the season where people will end up due to this pandemic. But I don't want to see it used as an excuse if they're given the option. Do you know what I mean?
But what about all those players who are out of contract this summer? I think Palace have got 6 players out of contract this summer, from Sacco to PVA, Patrick Van Arnold to Townsend. What happens if you get COVID and you have a terrible second half? You're kind of available, but you're not 100% fit, and the question marks go against you, etc. What happens if you end up like Wiltshire or whatever, or Sturridge, and you're not getting paid? You haven't got a contract because COVID has basically finished off your career. But nobody really knows. It's not like a hamstring injury. You can say, "Oh, he's got an injury or going from a knee operation or whatever." You're turning up, but you're only 90% good, so you end up on the subs bench. So everyone thinks he's just not good enough to get in the team.
Well, you've got
your contract runs out. What are you going to do then?
Well, lower your standards. I mean, if big teams aren't going to pick you up, then you've got to look lower. If you want to get paid, you want to play football. It doesn't matter where you're playing. When it comes, if it's rolling down to that sort of scenario, Jack Wilshere for one, he's left West Ham. He's a free agent. He's in Dubai doing training and whatnot, and he's not got a lot of interest. I mean, Dubai means January window's just opened. But he can go abroad. He can go anywhere. I'm sure he can get. I think he's just got certain expectations that he wants, and he won't accept lower than that. And then eventually he'll have to lower his expectations if he doesn't get the response that he wants. I think it'd just be a process of elimination.
Hopefully he watches Welbeck, who's been out for such a long time, coming back and having fun. And maybe he also watches Lallana, who's out for a long time, coming back and enjoying the game. So, hopefully he watches players who everyone thought were a write-off and do come back.
But then you've got the option to do a pay-as-you-play contract. You could sign these players and only pay them when they play. I mean, they're under a contract. They're playing
Yeah,
for the team.
fine from the club point of view. But if that was us, and you have one career and it's 10 years, and you're 26, 27, and you were at the peak of your career, was going really well, and then suddenly you've got this, and it's with you for a long period of time, and it trashes the end of your career. That's not good. If you're 26 years old and you were earning, 60 grand a week in the Premier League, and because of that, you have to go on a pay as you play in Division 1 or 2, and you maybe make 20 grand that year. That's
But then we could talk about that in other people's lives out of football. But should a player be able
But it comes back to, though, should the game continue?
Yeah, this is what I was about to come back
We're
to.
saying yes.
Should the game be continued?
Now, if the game stopped now and it was stopped, like all our employees of Phil, if it stopped now, their reputations would be intact.
Exactly. Or should a player have the opportunity to opt out of playing?
Interesting. But then you get knobs like Jose Mourinho saying it was unprofessional for Fulham to call the game off. Unprofessional. I mean, what a thing to say.
It is, yeah.
What a thing to say. Unprofessional.
Going back to the whole COVID situation, I think they've already said that they're not going to move the Euros again. So for that reason, I don't think you can cancel the season or stop it. As long as, the way I see it, as long as teams stay in their bubbles, then we are, stay as safe as they can, then we can probably get this Premier League finished.
It's the Olympics as well.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Which I was thinking the other day, because don't England usually put a youngish team together for the Olympics as well?
I think so, yeah. Is it the Great Britain team?
Yeah, the Great British national team,
Yeah, I mean, who does Phil Foden play for? Great Britain in the Olympics or England in the Euros? I know what he'll play for, but under normal circumstances, a young player like that, you'd say was perfect for the Olympics.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. Well, they might just pull the team out because they want him for the Euros. I don't know.
And if you're a Premier League or even a First Division club, and your player is called up to play in the Olympics on the other side of the world in Japan, are you going to be that happy that they're going to go?
No, you're not, are you?
No. But yeah, it's good. This one's definitely going to be interesting, like you say, with the COVID situation. You never know, because I saw a report that came out and said that that the rest of the players that were tested come back negative. That's why they opened the training ground back up. So the players, and that was 2 days ago. So the players that are there are still fit because they can train. They haven't got to train at home. So you kind of take confidence in that as a City fan.
I'm confident as long as it's all about what positions the five are out of. And as I've said, not worried about losing a right back. I am worried about losing a goalkeeper. I am worried about losing a forward because we and I'm not. Good luck to the lads on the transfer show. City haven't signed a striker in 3 years. They've known Aguero was not going to come back. I was mortified. I want him to sign Cavani, a great player.
Doesn't his contract run out soon as well?
Sorry?
Doesn't Aguero's contract run out soon?
Yeah, it does. I mean, he could sign a pre-agreement for an Italian club. And, how hard is he going to push himself? Also, when everyone thinks he's got a little bit of a dodgy knee, maybe he'll play well against Chelsea if he's playing 90 minutes because he's in the shop window a little bit. But you've lost a striker and a goalkeeper. That's bad news for any Premier League club, particularly if you're as naked up front as City are. It depends on the other two players. If it's a midfielder, let's say it's Bernardo Silva, I think we could cope. Or Riyad Mahrez, I think we could cope if it's a midfielder. But it depends where it is. God knows. If it's Mendy at left back and we've only got Cancelo on one side, well, yes, but it depends where it is. It really, really depends if it is. If it's De Bruyne or Sterling, then I am worried.
Yeah. So what are you two going for score predictions tonight? For tomorrow.
I'm going to be controversial and say I can't predict it because I don't know all the facts and information. I don't know who those two players are. So, okay, I'll be less controversial. I think City can nick it 1-2. I think City can just about nick it, but I am.
Yeah, we're going for Carl.
Weird.
I'm going for a draw. 2-2.
Yeah, I was thinking 2-2, but I don't know. I feel like Chelsea are going to come out with a point to prove also. And if, these positive results go against City, I can see Chelsea just nicking this one.
If I had the team sheet in front of me, I'd tell you.
Yeah.
This is it, and we don't know what team's going to pick what. So
No, it's a difficult one. I mean, as a United fan, I'd pray for a draw all day long.
Mhm.
Because it keeps you boys down the table. But I see one of them get the win. I don't know. It would be nice to for them to get a draw, but I see Chelsea nicking it.
Well, maybe for Man City fans like my brother, who is quite a Pep Guardiola critic, then it's the best thing that could happen because they'll have to play some young players, and they have got young players to bring back. So maybe it's one door closes, another opens, and we bring in some of the young players, and actually they turn out like Arsenal's 2 who are brilliant. They're 3. It's the young players who've regenerated Arsenal seasons. Maybe it's weird. Maybe strange things happen out of this. You play Ferran Torres as number 9. You bring in Rory Delap's lad up front, Doyle at the back. There's options of interesting players. The other bits I was thinking about was the loan players that City have got out. I was thinking about Jack Harrison. Is that whole season loan at Leeds? Is that someone City could recall in January? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he's really good. I'm amazed they leave him out there at Leeds when he's so good.
All right then. Well, I guess we'll round it off there. Everyone watching, make sure you share, like, comment, subscribe, all of it. Keep the numbers coming up, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Happy Saturday night.